प्रिय भक्तजन, शुभ स्वागतम and welcome to this evening's Sandhya. As you join with members of this most wonderful family in celebrating the life of the father and of course that wonderful husband of this home. This evening, my dear friends and devotees, we are about to commence a beautiful pravachan and a wonderful katha taken from the golden pages of the Charitamanas, and of course we'll journey from time to time to the golden pages of the Garuda Puran. Before we commence our pravachan and katha, I invite you all to please sit upright. Let us all draw our palms together. As we close the physical eyes, we surrender to the feet of Bhagavan. And as we surrender to the feet of the Divine Lord and Master of the Universe, we pray, Hey Prabhu, Hey Sarva Sachitanand, Nirakara Sarveshwara, Koti ko barambar namaskar karta ho, Bhagavan. May you bless that soul that is upon that journey to the Lok of Dharam Raja. May you bless his home and may you bless his family, O Bhagavan, with strength. May you bless all those joining with us this evening in Satsang. May you bless their homes and their families as well, we pray. Oh, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. He Ram, He Ram, He Ram. हमें दया करो. श्री गणेशाय नमः. ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमो नमः. Om Sri Guru Charana Kamalebhyo Namo Namah. Salutations to Pratham Dev Puja, the first deity to be worshipped. He is called Mangalamurti Moria, the Lord of Auspiciousness. He is Mahaganapati, Lord Ganesh, the remover of all obstacles and hurdles, trials and tribulations. Salutations unto thee. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvigaram Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Gajananam Bhutaganari Sevitam Kapita Jambu Palasara Bhakshatam Umasutam Shoka Vinashakarikam Namami Viganeshwara Parapankajam. Salutations to the Holy Ramayana. Varananam Ratasanganam Rasanam Chandasamapi Mangalanam Chakartaru Vande Vani Vinayako Jehe Sumirata Siddhi Hoi Gananayaka Kari Varavarana Kahanu Ado Grahasoi before journeying to the nectar of Katha scriptures, before journeying on anything in life, we must firstly offer salutations to the lotus-like feet of our Gurus. This evening, as we are about to embark upon a beautiful journey to the golden pages of the Ramcharitamanas together, let us offer salutations to the lotus-like feet of our Gurus. In your minds, chant your Guru Mantra. Remember the teaching of your Guru, for it is said that the teaching and the blessing of the Guru leads us out of the darkness of this Mahamaya, this world of illusion, and onto the realm of Hari. Sri Guru Charana Sarora This evening, as we are about to join in Katha and Satsang, when we join in Satsang, we are joining together to sing together. This evening, we blend our voices together. We are gathered here together to join with this family and to give them support, to pray together for the soul that is journeying to Dharamraja. And the only way we could join together in Satsang is by chanting together, by listening to Katha, by being together and praying as one family. It is said, the family that prays together stays together. So together, Sri Ram, Jai Ram. You know how to pray the Baba? Don't mind his looks so well. Together we pray to Shri Krishna. Bhagavan, may you open the doorways of Hari Vaikuntha, and may you accept that beautiful soul. As we pray this evening for that soul, let us all pray together. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsuchana Umardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bangulam Ketingirim Yatripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Gopala Gopala Devaki Nandana I'm sure everybody knows this chant. Gopala Devaki Nandana Jai Bhagwan. Ramayana says, Bare Bhagya Manushitan Papa. The human birth is the greatest gift from God, and we must use it to serve God. You know, when we hear certain songs, we just know to sing along. Tonight, when we hear the bhajan and kirtan, let us try to sing along together. Gopala Devaki Nandana. So I'll share a secret to you, because I know maybe the first time you're seeing this Baba. This Baba don't hear too good, right? So even if you sing in where you're sitting, I mightn't be able to hear. So please, tonight for me and for Auntie, raise all your volume a little bit louder, right? Gopala, Gopala, Devaki Nandana Gopala, 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 Devaki Nandana 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 Gopala, 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 Devaki Nandana Gopala. problem. But Bhagwan has blessed us with two hands. And these two hands we are used to clap when we join in Satsang. You know, we just pay plenty money to go by people to massage certain points in your hand to heal the body. When you clap in Satsang, my dear friends, your hand turns red. And if your hand didn't turn red when you clap, it means you didn't clap hard enough. And when your hand turns red, you know what has happened? All these points in your hands are activated. And what happens there? The body begins to heal through the medium of Satsang. Tonight, with love and with devotion, let us join. एक बार बोले वृंदावन प्रहलाद की. Don't worry, before the night done, I'll get all of you to sing. My dear friends, devotees and bhaktas, once more again let me say Swagatam and welcome to this evening's Sandhya, to all joining here with us in devotion and to all those joining with us via our live stream on Media Concepts 29 Facebook and YouTube channel. My dear bhaktas and devotees, a beautiful katha is taken from the golden pages of Aranyakan of the Sri Ramacharitra. Goswami Tulsidas tells us that Ram, Lakshman and Sita Maya, they are living in the Kishkinda forest, in a beautiful kutia. And why is these three are living in the Kishkinda forest? My dear bhaktas, Ravan is in Lankapuri, but Ravan is looking at everything that is taking place. For those who are familiar with Ramacharitra, you would know Ravan had tried to break the bow of Lord Shiva to win the hands of Sita Mata in marriage, but it was unsuccessful in doing so. But Ravan always gazed upon the Mahamaya, the illusion, the beauty of Sita Mata. And now, knowing that these three are alone in the Kishkinda forest, he has a plan. What is the plan of Ravan? Goswami Tulsidas tells to us this evening through the medium of Katha. Jaya Ram Shri Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Jaya Rama Shri Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Ravan karahe That by the mere thinking, by the mere thought of anything, he could assume that form. Ravan, he asked marriage. He summoned him and he asked him, I want you to take the form of a golden deer, very beautiful, and I want you to go in the Kishkinda forest, roam around where Sita will see the beauty of this deer. And of course, her heart will crave for this deer because of the beauty, charm her. And when she sends Ram to look for this deer, don't worry, I will take charge of everything. I want you to go, assume the form of the golden deer and lost Ram into the forest. And do not worry about anything else. Marriage, my dear friends and devotees, blindly following his leader, he bows to the feet of Ravan and he says, my lord, if this is what you want, thus too, so it shall be. Ravan, my dear friends and devotees, he begins to laugh. He has a plan in his mind. And so, marriage assumes the form of a golden deer. He enters into the Kishkinda forest. And what takes place? Goswami Tusidas does. My dear friends and devotees, marriage takes the form of the golden deer. He goes into the Kishkinda forest and he sees his kutia. He sees two princes standing outside and he recognizes them to be Ram and Lakshman. And he roams around the kutia. Sita Devi, being amazed by the beauty of this deer, she calls Sri Ram. He says, my lord, when you go to perform your tapasya, your duties, I am here alone. Look over there. Not over there, devotees. There's a golden deer. I want you to bring this deer for me, and this deer will keep me company. I will have this deer with me at all times. It is so beautiful, Ram. You know what runs through the mind of Sri Ram? He says, Sita Maya, there is nothing that you could ask for and I will not go to get it. You know why? Sri Ram thinks to himself, Sita Devi has left behind all the luxury in Ayodhya. The big kingdom, everything, all the jewelry, the beautiful clothing, the money, everything, to accompany him to live in a kutia in the forest. In today's world, which wife doing that? Which wife going to leave behind all the luxury to accompany their husband to live in the forest for 14 years? You know what today's wife they say? That is your karma, you go and pay it. Jai Bhagwan. So Shri Ram says, my dear friends, O Lakshman, I want you to remain here and I want you to protect Sita Devi in my absence. Lakshman bows to the feet of Shri Ram and he says, my lord, you have my word. Lakshman makes a promise to Shri Ram that he will always be there at his side. He will always be there to protect Sita Devi. Likewise, in today's world, we all make promises to stay together and to stick together through the thick and through the thin. And how many of us will stick to that commitment? How many of us, my dear friends and devotees, live by our words? It is said, Raghukula riti sada chaliyaye, prana na jai par vachana na jai. When you give your word, it is near and dear to you, just as your very breath. When we offer gratitude, my dear friends and devotees, we must always remember not to just utter words, but to stand and live by them, my dear friends. You know, there's a beautiful saying, action speaks louder than words, my dear devotees. And likewise, Lakshman gives his word to Shri Ram. Shri Ram leaves and he goes in search of the deer. But remember, marriage, his duty is to lose Ram in the forest. Time is passing by. Sita Devi is getting worried. The place begins to get dark. And like any wife would do, if your husband leaves home to go to work or wherever and the place begins to get dark, what would you do as a wife? You begin to worry. Isn't that so? You take up the phone and you're calling uncle to see where he is. Sita Maya, she looks at Lakshman and she says, "Oh Lakshman, I want you to go in search of Ram. And when you find Ram, oh Lakshman, I want you to tell him, forget about it there. It's getting dark. Return to me safely." But Lakshman remembers the words of Shri Ram. He remembers that he has made a promise to Ram to always protect Sita Devi and to never leave her. But here Sita is asking him to go and to bring back Ram. What would Lakshman do? Goswami Tulsidas Ji, he tells to us, Lakshman begins to think, what should I do? Sita wants me to go and retrieve Ram. And Ram had asked me to protect Sita Devi. He begins to pray with clasped hands. Whom does he pray to? Who does Lakshman pray to, my dear friends? Lakshman with clasped hands. Whenever the devatas are in problems, there's one person that they turn to. Today is Friday. Who did we pray to this morning? Anybody know? Or you put on your radio this morning on 1-3? This morning and this evening and whole day we would have prayed to Devi Maya. She is Jagat Janani. She is the universal mother. She is the mother of energy, Shakti. And so, as he begins to pray to that divine mother, he pulls out his arrow. And he holds the arrow and he begins to pray. What does he do? We listen. Om Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvata Sadike Saranye Triyambike Gauri Narayani Namostute Maya. Through the medium of this arrow I invoke you, Ma. And as I make a rekha around this Kutiya Maya, may you protect Sita Devi. And he begins to pray. He takes the arrow and he places it upon the earth. Pritavita Tritaloka Devi Dvam Pritavim Cha Kurusha Sanam. He begins to create that circle as he praises the Divine Mother. He prays for protection. This evening, as Lakshman prays for protection for Sita Maya, let us grasp this opportunity as we too pray for protection. Today we live in a world where we feel how unsafe. Isn't that so? Look at what takes place in today's world. And the only one to protect us, Katha teaches us, is that divine. He begins to pray. Jai Jai Ambe Bhavani Ma. Jai Jai Ambe Bhavani Ma. Jai Jai Ambe Bhavani Ma. Victory to you, Ma. This evening, we blend our voices. Jai Jai Ambe Bhavani Ma. Jai Jai Ambe Bhavani Ma. Jai Jai Ambe Bhavani Ma. Jai Jai Ambe Bhavani the way we chanted Vajay Bhagwan, we're in real trouble tonight. She's Shakti. Shakti means energy. Tonight, with love and devotion, with a little bit of energy, let us chant together. Jai Jai Ambe Bhavani. Jai Jai Ambe. Jai Jai Ambe Bhavani, Jai Jai Ambe Bhavani, Jai Jai Ambe Bhavani Ma, 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 Jai Jai Ambe Jai Jai Ambe. एक बार बोले जगदम्बा माता की. He creates a beautiful Reka. A Reka is a huge circle. Bound in that place and invoking the presence of Devi Maya, he bows to the feet of Sita Devi. And he says, Maya, bless me. That as I leave you in this kutia, I will go to Ram and return together safely with Ram. But Ma, remain within this circle. For once you are within this circle, you are well protected. Do not come out of this circle. He bows to the feet of Sita Maya. He receives her blessing before embarking upon that journey. What does Katha teach us say? When we are leaving our homes in the morning, what you must do? When you're leaving home in the morning, walk to the stallion. Make sure when I come in the evening, have hot sada roti and fry aloo. Otherwise, you will see pot, pan, tower outside. Jai Bhagwan. That's a long time thing, eh? He tell you, make sure when the bread van pass, you stop and back out that bread. My dear friends and devotees, many times when we are leaving our homes, we tend to argue, we tend to quarrel and then leave the house. Sanatana Dharma teaches us whenever leaving our homes, go to your altar. Nobody say pray for 10 hours, 1 minute. Go to your altar and receive the blessing of Bhagwan. Ask Bhagwan to protect you to reach safely to your destination and to return safely to your home. Many of us sometimes leave our homes, but we do not return in the evening. Ask Bhagwan to bless your home so when you reach home in the evening you have a house. You could leave home in the morning and by the time you come back in the evening the house gone. We see this happening. Ask Bhagwan to protect your family in your absence. Many people return home to find their family what? God forbid dead. This is reality. We need God more than ever now in our lives. So when we are about to leave our homes, do like Lakshman. Seek the blessing of Bhagwan, my dear friends. Practice this from tomorrow. Lakshman leaves and he goes in search of Ram. And once he goes in search of Sri Ram, Sita Maya sits there as she japes Rama, Rama, Rama. Ravan is looking at everything. And Ravan says everything is going according to his plan. It is time for him to make his move. Ravan comes to the Kishkinda, and as he approaches there, he is journeying towards the Kutia. But he says, if I go in the form of Ravan, the king of Lanka, Sita will recognize me. So he dresses himself as a beggar and he goes walking as an old man. He chants Diksham Dehi, Diksham Dehi. He's begging. Sita Devi, she hears someone chanting outside, Diksham Dehi Maya, Diksham Dehi. And as Sita Devi looks outside, she sees this old man dressed in ragged clothing. She goes outside, but she doesn't cross the circle. He says, Maya, do you have any bhojan? I'm hungry. And Sita Devi goes into the kutia and she takes some pulse, some fruits. And as she's walking outside, she remembers the words of Lakshman, Ma, do not put even 1 foot out of this circle. Once you are within this circle, you are well protected. She says, Pita, please come and receive these fruits. But Ravan, looking on the ground, he recognizes that this place is bounded. This place is well protected by the Devi. And Ravan is what? A Rakshas. He cannot enter. He says, Maya, I am so weak, I could hardly walk 1 footstep. I am so hungry, Ma. Please, allow me to prepare away that bhojan, to eat that food. Sita Devi looks at him and she says, he's an old man. He could merely walk. What harm could he bring to me? The saying goes, never judge a book by its... Oh, you never hear that yet? Never judge a book by its cover, my dear friends. Sita Devi places one of her foot out of the circle. Ravan smiles. She places the other, and Ravan assumes his natural form, grabbing the Devi, my dear friends. He mounts that aerial craft, the Pushpa Viman, and he begins to journey to Lankapuri. And once he is journeying to Lankapuri, Sita Devi is crying. She is calling out to her Ram. Goswami Tulsidas, she describes to us. Hari Ho Rama Milana Kapahu Akisava Lage Rahi. Hari Ho Rama Milana Kapahu Akisava Lage Rahi. Hari Ho Rama Milana Kapahu Akisava Lage Rahi. Suno bari Sita ke bila suno bari Bai Karachi bado kao Bai Karachi bado Sama lagre she calls to her Ram. And while she's calling out to Ram, all of the creatures, the moving and unmoving, my dear friends, they recognize this voice to be that of Sita Devi. But what would they do? It is said, Goswami Tulsidas, she says, the king of the birds, Jatayu, hears the cry. And as he looks above, he sees the craft, he sees the chariot of Ravan flying over. He recognizes the voice to be that of Sita Maya. But Jatayu thinks to himself, I am a mere fool. What could I do? How could I help Sita Devi? In today's world, when we see people in problem, what we just do? We say that is your problem, not my one. Isn't that so? But when we in problem, we just cry, people didn't come to help us. My dear friends and devotees, remember long time? When the neighbor have a problem, that problem was your problem. I remember those days and we just wish for that it could come back now. Why? Because in those days, we used to live in peace and unity and harmony and togetherness. Today, my dear friends and devotees, be your brother's keeper. Look out for your neighbor. Look out for your family members. Be there for each other. But at the same time, my dear friends and devotees, we must be smart and intelligent. We must look out for each other. We must share that love, that unity and that togetherness. And so Jatayu is saying, what should I do? How will my Ram know where Sita Devi is, my dear friends? And so, Jatayu, he says to himself, it is better to try and fail than to fail to try, my dear friends. Always remember that in life. Situations will come in your life where you will have decisions to make and it may seem impossible. But always remember, it is better to try and fail than to fail to try. Whenever situations seem impossible, my dear friends, remember your Hanuman. He is the Lord of strength. He makes the impossible possible, my dear friends. And so, Jatayu, he gains courage and he begins to travel towards the chariot. Jatayu barasati ka Jatayu barasati na deha kehi manna mare babo kehi manna mare sava gains courage and he begins to travel towards the chariot. And once he is traveling towards the chariot, my dear friends and devotees, he calls out to Ravana. He says, "O Lanka ke Raja, release Sita Devi, because Ram will come to search for Sita. And it will not only bring your destruction, but the destruction of the entire of Lanka." He says it will not only bring your destruction, O Ravan, but it will bring the destruction of the entire of Lanka. Why does he say that? When a leader makes a bad decision, who suffers? Oh, you're living in Trinidad? When a leader makes a bad decision, everybody have to suffer. Likewise, my dear friends and devotees, he tells to Ravana, Ram will come and will not only bring your destruction, but the destruction of the entire Lanka. Release Sita Devi, and Ravana begins to laugh. He says, "You are talking about the prince who living in the forest? I am the king who's living in a kingdom. Nobody can destroy me." What begins to speak? The Abhiman, ego. What is Abhiman? Pride. Ego, my dear friends. Ego is spelled E-G-O. Agent, God, out. Whenever you have ego, Bhagwan is nowhere. Whenever you have pride, Bhagwan doesn't come close. My dear friends and devotees, Ravan tells Jatayu, "If you want me to release Sita, then battle with me." And Jatayu knows to himself it is a losing battle. But remember, it is better to try and fail than to fail to try. And Jatayu goes towards Ravan, and as he's about to pick at him, Ravan pulls his sword. He clips the wing of Jatayu. And as he clips the wing of Jatayu, my dear friends and devotees, Jatayu, he slits his wing, he slits his throat, and Jatayu, my dear friends, is falling, coming to the ground. And once he's coming to the ground, his thoughts is centered upon Ram. His thoughts is centered upon Maryada Purushottamaha. Jatayu, blood is oozing out of him. His wing is clipped, his throat is slit. But he isn't thinking, "I'm going to die, you know." You know what he's studying? How will my Ram know where Sita Devi is? As he's falling to the ground from the sky, his thoughts is upon Sri Ram. He is thinking to himself, "I have to serve my Lord Ram. My Lord, I have tried my best, O Ram. I have tried, but I have failed you, Lord." This is what he's thinking. He remembers, my dear friends, when Ram, the teachings of Ram, the life of Ram, and the love that Ram would have showed to him as the king of the birds. He had seen Ram not just as the Lord, you know, but as his father. We should see God not only as Bhagwan, but we chant a beautiful mantra, Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva. God, you are my mother and my father. You are my friend and companion, everything unto me. We declare Bhagwan to be your friend. When you have a problem, who you just tell? Your best friend, eh? When problem come, what you do is you take up your phone and you call your best friend. And you tell your friend your problem, and by the time you reach Prisal, everybody know your problem. Jai Bhagwan. But there's one friend that you could tell your problem and you don't tell nobody and try to help you, is Bhagwan. Bhagwan is seen as our mother and our father. He sees Ram to be his father. He is studying, oh Lord, how would you know where Maya is? And once he thinks about that divine Lord, he remembers that fatherly love that Ram would have shared with him. His breath is running out as he falls to the ground. Blood is oozing out of his body. But he remembers the love that Ram and Sita had shared with him. He calls, O Ram, where are you? Tujhe suraj kahu, yah chanda, tujhe deep kahu, ya tara, mera naam gare karoshan, jag mein mera raj dula. This evening, we are here to celebrate the life of the Father of this world. And so today, we pray, Bhagwan, where that soul is in the journey to Dharam Raja, oh Bhagwan, may you bless that soul. For he has inspired so many. For today, he has left a beautiful wife here. But in our hearts, that memories will live forever. He may not be here physically, but spiritually he will always be here. Tonight, my dear friends, if your father has gone to the great beyond, pray. Pray for his soul. And if your father is alive, my dear friends and devotees, pray and ask Bhagwan to bless him with good health. Jatayu lies there and he calls out to his Ram. Tujhe suraj kahu, yah chanda, tujhe deep kahu, ya tara, mera naam karega roshan, jag mein mera raj dula. Jatayu remembers the days when he will fall and Ram will teach him to walk, and Ram will teach him that every time you fall, what do? You get up and gives courage to him. Likewise, our fathers will teach us to climb the stairs, the ladder of life. He may be a little bit harsh, but now we will realize that it was all for your good. Because of that today, you are strict. Because of that today, you are who you are, my dear friends. Every time that you fell, your father will pick you up and teach you what? Every time you fall, it's okay. Get up and try again. And so, we offer prayer. We send love to that beautiful soul. Aaj ugale namke tere, tujhe main chena sina, kal haath pakarna mera, jab main par jaऊं, tu mera tu maine paaya, jeene ka naya sahara, mera naam karega roshan, jag mein mera raj dula. Tujhe suraj kahu, ya chanda, tujhe deep kahu, ya tara, mera naam karega roshan, jag mein mera raj dula, jag mein mera raj dula, jag mein mera raj. Jatayu lies there on the ground. He thinks about Ram as a father. He calls out to Ram. His breath is flickering, my dear friends. He's about to die, but he wants his Ram to come. He's studying how will Ram know where Sita Maya is. With choked voice, he's calling out to Ram. Ram and Lakshman is searching the forest. And Lakshman sees a trail of blood. And he decides to follow this trail. But while he's following the trail of blood, my dear friends, he hears someone calling out to Ram. Jai Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Ram Ram Patita Pavana. एक बार राम राम राजा राम पतित पावन सीता जय रघुपति राघव पतित पावन. He follows the trail of blood, he follows the sound of Ram, and he sees Jatayu lying there in a pool of blood. He holds the head of Jatayu and he calls Ram, and Ram reaching there, he falls on the ground and he begins to pray with the head of Jatayu. He says, Jatayu, who has done this to you? Jatayu says with choked voice, O Ram, it is Ravana, the king of Lanka, who has kidnapped Sita Devi. O Ram, I have tried my very best to rescue Sita Devi. But he had clipped my wing and slit my throat, Lord, and here I am. O Ram, allow me to breathe my last breath, Prabhu, and you go in search of Sita Devi. Ram says, Jatayu, you have done this selflessly in the service of someone else. There is nothing in this world beyond the reach of those who have the interests of others at heart. This is the word of Sri Ram. There is nothing in this world beyond the reach of those who have the interests of others at heart, my dear friends. What the Lord is telling us this evening is that we must look out for each other. We must think about each other. How many of us, my dear friends, before we do something, we just think, how will it affect others? How many of us, before we say something, we just think about how will it affect others? In today's world, you know what we just say? That is your business. I say what I have to say and I do what I have to do. But Sri Ram teaches us, my dear friends, we must think about how would it affect others. We must have the interests of others at heart, my dear friends. And so he says, Jatayu, do not worry. Do not worry, O Jatayu, for I will put back life into your body. Jatayu says, no. If you are about to die and Bhagwan come and he say, be it, don't worry, I will give you life again. What would you say, Baba? I will take a 10 years again. Isn't that so? Jatayu says, Lord, no. Why does he say no? Jatayu reminds Sri Ram of the words of Bhagavad Gita. What does he remind Sri Ram? What does he teach us this evening? We listen to the medium of Gita as we pause for 2 minutes. Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Bolo Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Jatayu has fallen to the ground, and while he is falling there, whom his thought was centered upon? Sri Ram, my dear friends. If we are about to die, what would we think about? We're thinking about who name in the bank account. We didn't get a pulley wire and take the 2 feet of land. And we think about that. Who getting Mama Bera? We're thinking about all of these things. But how many of us think about God? He says, whatever a man thinks about at the moment of death, that and that alone shall he attain. Ever been absorbed in his thought? Begin to think about God now. Begin to make time for God now, because none of us knows when the time will come to depart from this world. None of us knows, my dear friends and devotees, when we will depart from this world. So make time for God now. Think about God now, my dear friends and devotees. And so, Jatayu tells, Yam yam papi swarabhavam yaja ante kalvaram tam tamiva paunade yada Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama Bolo Sri Krishna. Therefore, all times think about me as you go into the battlefield. What is the battlefield in today's world? Anybody know? Today's battlefield is this world that we live in. Every day we are faced with different trials and tribulations. Isn't that so? Different hurdles in our life. Life itself becomes a battlefield. My dear friends and devotees, he says, as you go into the battlefield, O Arjuna, think about me. With your mind and understanding set on me, surely you will come to me. As we go into this battlefield that is called life, what are we fighting for? Dharma. He said, Dharma rakshite rakshite dharma. Those who protect dharma, dharma will protect you. What is dharma? Righteousness. We must stand up for what is right, my dear friends, like Arjuna. Arjuna said, Lord, here I am standing alone in this battlefield, O Bhagavan. And everybody's on the opposite side, my uncles, cousins, gurus. Bhagavan, here I am alone. And Shri Krishna says, there's a time in our lives, my dear friends, that we feel as though we are alone. We can have all the friends, all the family, but a time comes when we feel as though we are alone on this battlefield of life. And so Bhagavan, he reminds us, he says, Arjuna, I am always there with you. Bhagavan is with us every minute of our lives. Shivoham, Shivoham. We are part of Bhagavan. My dear friends, we must recognize that. We must realize that. He says, oh Arjuna, as you go into the battlefield, remember your purpose to come into this battlefield. What is our purpose to come in upon this earth? We are sent here due to our karma from the previous birth. And we are sent here to use this gift of life to burn that karma. How do we burn it? Through the medium of serving God. Through the medium of serving God, my dear friends. How do we serve God? The question arises. How do we serve God? My dear friends and devotees, many of us think serving God is getting up in the morning and offer 10 lota dhar, and in the night light all the diya have. When you see somebody doing that, what will they say? Man, he could well pray, he going straight by God. But sometimes you offer 20 lota dhar and the neighbor dog come across after. What has happened? What has started? Jai Bhagwan. My dear friends and devotees, your rituals are great and good, but not every day might be able to offer dhar and light a diya and perform puja. Then how will you serve God? Service to humanity is service to God. When you get the opportunity to serve mankind, grasp that opportunity. When we speak about serving mankind, you know what we think about? Buying grocery, giving money, but sometimes you don't have food for yourself. You don't have money for yourself, then how will you serve mankind? Every day when you come in contact with others, tell them something to inspire them, to motivate them, to help them in the journey of life. And when that person becomes successful, you have truly served mankind. Why? You are part of that person's success. So here Bhagavan says, stand, O Arjuna, for what you are here for. And Arjuna says, Lord, I am here to stand for dharma, for righteousness. Have you ever realized? When you stand up for the right thing in today's world, everybody does go against you. Isn't that so? You ever see that happen? One day to come, you will experience it. Be like Arjuna. Do not give up in your faith. But be like Arjuna. Stand for dharma. Stand for what is right. And righteousness, my dear friends. Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bolo Sri Krishna Sharanam. Oh Baba Sri Krishna Sharanam. Prabhu Sri Krishna Sharanam. Ekta Bole Vishnu Bhagwan ki. Satya Sanatana Dharma ki. Arjuna says, Lord, this body that is given to me is given to serve you, Lord. So tonight let us remind ourselves that this body is to serve God. We are sent here due to our karma, and by using this birth to serve God and to do the righteous and the good things, it burns our karma. So at the end of life, the goal of life is what? Mukti, moksha, oneness with Bhagavan. By doing all the good things, it helps to burn that karma. But sometimes we just come at 5% karma, and when we leave in, we just leave it 50% karma. You know why? Sometimes we do more bad than Bhagwan. We must use this life to do good things. Nobody say no, you might make a mistake. Nobody is perfect. Nobody has say might forget a satsang one day. Nobody has say might make a mistake. We are all human beings. Nobody is perfect. But we must learn from our mistakes. We must always learn from our mistakes. And so, my dear friends, our mind should be set upon the Lord. So Arjuna tells to Bhagavan Shri Ram, he says, Bhagavan, Maryada Purushottam, why would you give back life to my body when there's nothing more that it desires? Because what we should be desiring, my dear friends, when we ask, what is your desire? We say, Baba, I want to get a BMW. Baba, I want a house a little bigger than the neighbor one. Isn't that so? We always want a little more money. We must be contented with whatever little you have. If you pray to Bhagwan for a BMW and Bhagwan give a BMX, say, thank you, Bhagwan. I still could move dhire, but I could reach. Eh? If you pray for a big house and Bhagwan give you a flat house, don't vex with God. You still have a roof over your head, you are wetted. When you get dal and rice and bhaji to eat, don't vex. You still have food to eat. People don't have food today. If you have one kurta to go satsang, don't vex with God for that, Wash your kurta and you go the next night. Because you didn't go there because of the clothing, you're going there to serve God. My dear friends and devotees, be contented with whatever you have. Because the goal in this life is to serve God. And the goal in this life is mukti. So Jatayu says, Lord, there's nothing more that my life will serve. No more purpose. Because the purpose that I was alive is to attain you, Lord. And here you are before me in bodily form. What more will this body serve better? So Bhagwan, allow me to breathe my last breath. And allow me to go, Lord. Imagine Sri Ram hearing that. Tears begin to flow from the eyes of the Lord. It's not often the Lord does hear devotees speak like that, You know what the Lord does hear from devotees? Bhagwan, give me 50 years again. Give me 10 years again, Bhagwan. I almost reached pension. Baba had to see the grandchildren married, give me 20 years again. And we forget about the real purpose of life, my dear friends. And so, Bhagwan Shri Ram, he closes the eye of Jatayu. And as he closes the eye of Jatayu, Lakshman begins to make preparation to dispose of the body of Jatayu. My dear friends and devotees, when someone dies, how soon should we dispose of the body of that person? Say, Baba, well, I have to wait. Daddy, Mausi, Mausa, Tanti, daughter coming from England. She could take 2 weeks to reach. Baba, she has seen Papa for 30 years. So we can hold the body till she reach. Isn't that so? My dear friends, our Dharma teaches us we should dispose of the body as soon as possible. Sanatana Dharma teaches us there are 5 ways to dispose of the body by any of the element, but in our country there's only 2 legal ways. Burial and cremation. The greatest amongst the 5 is cremation, my dear friends and devotees. Why? The body, my dear friends, is comprised by the 5 elements. The first element to leave the body is the element of space. Have you ever noticed mere moments or days before someone died, they stop speaking? Because the space in the body is now filled with liquid. So the first element is no longer. The second element to leave the body is the element of air, breath, prana. When someone is no longer breathing, it means margai. The person is no longer. So the second element leaves the body. The third element to leave the body is the fire element. Feel your hand tonight and you feel heat. When somebody dies, my dear friends, the heat leaves the body. Garu Puran says that body should remain right there until the heat leaves the body, then to move that body. So when somebody dead and you see that's taking long to come, don't vex. Everything is happening for a reason. The scripture says the body should remain there until the heat leaves the body completely, allowing that to shanti, and then you remove the body. Leaving 2 elements. The liquid element, water element, the liquid within the body, and the earth element which creates the body. And how soon should we dispose of this? As soon as possible. We should dispose of it. Bringing shanti to these 2 elements. So hence the greatest amongst all to dispose of the body is cremation. Because when we cremate the body, my dear friends, these 2 elements are no longer. Lakshman begins to make preparations to dispose of the body of Jatayu. And while he's making preparations, Goswami Tulsidashi tells to us what takes place. Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jaya Jaya Shri Rama Jaya Rama. Tonight, if you really want to hear what will happen, raise your volume, right? Jaya Rama Shri Rama Shri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Ram Jaya Syamati Ramachandra ki. My dear friends and devotees, Jatayu begins to prepare himself. Lakshman, my dear friends, you see, I'm making sure you listen. Lakshman begins to prepare. Lakshman begins to prepare himself to cremate the body of Jatayu. How do we prepare the body for cremation? Anybody know? Preparing the body for cremation, he creates a beautiful rath. And though there he places the kush grass, he places spots of gobar. And then he places the body of Jatayu. According to Garu Puran, before we place the body in the box or the rath or whatever you are placing the body on, we should place kush grass and gobar and then rest the body. You know we say, Baba, you can mess up Papa clothes, but don't worry about that, it's going to burn. He places the gobar, he rests the body. And then where he is going to place the body now to perform the rituals, he lipays that spot with gobar. You know what Garu Puran teaches us? How we should lipay that spot? Many times you see we lipay the spot just like the box, isn't that so? Like a rectangle. But Garu Puran says the spot should be lipayed in a circle, where the karma karta, the devotee who is performing the rites and rituals, could be able to walk upon that holy ground. That is how you're supposed to lipay the ground. But in today's world, we say, Baba, the tile could dirty. So we take a piece of white cloth and we just touch the gobar, tic-tac-toe, and we put it on. Jai Bhagwan. And then the night you hear the chair shaking inside. You know why? Because the breeze blowing. My dear friends, he prepares the body. He places it upon that holy spot. And Jatayu, my dear friends, is lying. That body is lying there. Lakshman begins to perform the rites and the rituals. But while he's performing the rites and the rituals, all of the creatures are looking, because Jatayu is the king of the birds. And you know what they recognize? When we go to a funeral, what you must recognize, what you must look at, not how expensive the box is. Because to me, the cheapest box is the best box. Not to look to see if uncle looking like a dulaha or auntie looking like a dulahin in the box, you know. And then to talk and say, then people, well, buy a cheap sari. That is not what you should be going to look for. You know what you should be recognizing? That the person lies in the box. And what again is placed in the box? You ever see the 2-inch land you just kill and fight for in the box? Never. You ever see somebody die and the mama bearer they just fight and kill for the carry it? It has remained right here. Somebody could take it and melt it somewhere down the road. Or somebody could thief it. You ever notice something, my dear friends? We love to boast about who fat and who thin and who white and who black and who pretty and who ugly. But have you ever noticed when you die, the body remains here to be what? Disposed of. Why do we boast when this doesn't even belong to us? None of this. What really belongs to us, my dear friends? He's the king of the birds and he leaves there with nothing. Everything remains here. Uncle has left and gone, the house remains here. Everything remains right here. Why are we boasting? And why are we fighting and killing for? And when we die, we have to leave it here. What would we carry with us when we depart from this world? There's only 2 things you can carry with you. What is these 2 things? Anybody know? The bhajan tells to us. We are sent here with a gatariya, pot. What is the pot? The soul. And what you put in this pot is what you could carry. What you could put in this gatariya. The bhajan says, Are koi nare jaile dhan baan ke gatariya. Koi nare jaile dhan baan ke. Dhan bhaan ke gatariya. Dhan bhaan ke. Dhan bhaan ke gatariya. Dhan bhaan ke. Are koi nare jaile dhan you have done, and maybe people didn't recognize it, or it went unseen, but you did it from your heart with love and devotion, you're carrying that punya, that with you. Not the good things you do and you post on Facebook for name, fame, and share and like and thing, that one remaining right there. And you see the good thing, the bad things that you do and you thought you get away. Jai Bhagwan. You're carrying that with you. There's only two things you could carry. The good and the bad things that you have done. It's called karma. Karma pradhan ek samrata. The only thing you could take with you from this world is the good and the bad, the actions that you have done, my dear friends. So begin to prepare that luggage to take with you when you depart from this world. It is said that the strength of the traveler lies in the actual preparation made for the particular journey. If you're going to Miami for the first time and they didn't make reservation, what happens when you reach there? You're lost. Isn't that so? Likewise, make peace with Bhagwan. Make reservation with God. How do you do that? Through puja. Through serving God, my dear friends. So when the soul leaves this body, it has a resting place to go. It journeys to the lokam dharma, to Bhagwan, my dear friends. And so, likewise, the bhajan teaches us, do not waste your life foolishly, running after the material things of this world. Foolishly, sometimes we run after the material things of this world. Nobody say don't have a nice house, you know. Nobody does say have 3-4 vehicles, you know. Nobody does say have nice jewelry or money or clothing or anything. Enjoy it to the fullest. But do not become attached to it. Enjoy it. You are placed here to enjoy everything. But do not become attached to it. But sometimes we get attached to it. And foolishly we end up wasting this life. The bhajan says, Jyoti janamaga vaya sadhu, Jyoti janamaga vaya sadhu, Jyoti janamaga vaya, Jyoti janamaga vaya sadhu, Jyoti janamaga vaya sadhu, Jyoti janamaga Whilst we run after the material things of this world foolishly, wasting our lives, my dear friends, there is someone you should be serving, Bhagwan. And who is your God on this earth? Your mother and your father. We tend to run on this earth foolishly, wasting the life, and not realizing that the day will come when we return to who? Dharti Mata. To this very said earth, my dear friends, have respect for it. And so he says, foolishly, O man, do not run after the material things of this world. He says, you are sent here empty-handed, and likewise you leave behind this world empty-handed. You do not carry anything but only a karma. For death does not distinguish between the king nor the beggar. He calls for everyone. The only one to ferry the boat of life across the ocean of mundane existence is who? Bhagwan, my dear friends. You may call God by different names. You may visualize God differently. But whatever faith you belong to, my dear friends, begin to serve God. Because God is the only one to ferry the boat of life across the ocean of mundane existence, my dear friends. And so the bhajan says very beautifully, sometimes we study the Vedas, the Puranas, but still we cannot grasp the mystery of death. And so, very beautifully, my dear friends, the bhajan says, Ek din choti jai sansar, Ek din choti jai sansar, O ek din choti jai run after all these material things and kill and fight for, and when time to depart from this world, you can't carry nothing. The Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna said, Patram Pushpam Param Toyam Yomi Bhakta Prachate. He says, those who offer to me a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or a drop of water with love and devotion attain mukti. What is the leaf Bhagavan speak about? Anybody know? Not pan leaf and not tulsi, not neem, neither bean. When you look at the leaves and you look at your hands, just as there are veins in your hands, there are veins in the leaf. This is the leaf he speaks of. How do you offer our hands to God? Service to humanity is service to. When you get the opportunity to do good things with these hands, how you must do it? He says, Patram Pushpam, he says, offer flowers to me. In Sanatana Dharma, everything we do, we offer flowers. Even in the funeral, we offer flowers. Why? Flowers symbolizes love. When Mother's Day comes, or rather when Valentine's come, you buy out all the roses. Why? You afraid you get licked? Because flowers symbolizes love. He says when you get the opportunity to do good things with his hands, how you must do it with? Love. You know the old people used to say, if you can't do something good, don't do it at all, my dear friends. And when you serve God, when you help somebody from your heart, and that person becomes successful, you know what has happened? Tears just flow from the eyes. Tears of joy. Because you are part of that person's success. In today's world, when we see people becoming successful, tears just flow from the eyes, but a different kind. Tears of jealousy and hatred, isn't that so? But tears of joy should be flowing from your eyes. We must be happy when we see someone becoming successful, especially when you are part of that person's success. He speaks about the fruits. And what are the fruits? The fruits of your actions. What you plant is what you are going to. Oh, you never hear that one? What you plant is what you're going to reap. If you plant tomatoes, you can't pick baigan. Never, unless the neighbor plant baigan. If you do good, you will reap good. And if you do bad, Jai Bhagwan. Karma Pradanik Samrata. My dear friends and devotees, everyone is looking. Jatayu is the king. He is going forth. But he leaves everything. Likewise in our lives, when we die, we do not carry anything, but only our karma, the good and the bad that we have done. So I remind you tonight, as we terminate pravachan, to do good. Sometimes it is be hard to do good, but try harder. Do good, and good will always follow you. If a little bad happens, don't worry about it. Things just happen in life. But always try your best to do good. Always try your best to help where you could. And always remember to live by your word. And likewise, my dear friends, he places the body there. He performs parikrama, purification. He places the chandan. When someone dies, we place the chandan. How we will put it? When you are alive, the chandan is placed upwards because there is a jiva, life force within the body. And when someone dies, the chandan is placed as a mad dot and simply downwards, closing that third eye. The perfume is offered. Why do we offer the perfume? Not for the dead man to smell good, you know. It is a reminder for all of us. When we go puja and you get a little bit of kush in your hand, it's not for you to smell good, you know. It is a reminder. The perfume will smell high and then in a few seconds it sends die out. You know what it reminds you? That you are here for a short space of time. Use it to serve God. He places the mala, and the mala is burst. Why do we burst the mala? Signifying the attachment from the material world and the ascent onto the spiritual realm. And there he holds the tari. And whilst he holds that tari, he lights the kapur. Have you ever noticed when we perform funeral? The arti isn't oil and adhiya, but it's camphor arti. Why? Because the camphor, well, now you had to check what brand of camphor. But the camphor should burn out to nothing. That's a good camphor, right? Nowadays, a camphor, when you light it, you get a whole diya black thing. But the camphor should burn to nothing. And likewise, as you perform the arti, He holds the tari in his hand and he begins to pray. What he's praying for? Bhagavan, as his campfire is burning, may it help to burn the karma of that soul. If he has done anything wrong whilst upon this earth, Bhagavan, may you please forgive him. And as his campfire burns, Bhagavan, may that karma burn. And what he sings? Jai Krishna Hare, Sri Krishna Hare, Dukhiyo ko dukha dur kare. Jai 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 Krishna Hare. Bolo. Jai Krishna Hare, Sri Krishna Hare, Dukhiyo ko dukha dur kare. Jai Jai Jai. Performing that arti, he performed parikrama and walks around the body. He performed 5 mansal, 5 stops. 5 pindas are offered. Why? Offering gratitude and thanking God for allowing us this body whilst on this earth to serve God. Life is all about gratitude. How many of us when we get up in the morning we thank God for life? How many of us when we get up in the morning we say, oh God, it's Monday again? Thank God you are alive. People didn't get up this morning. Some people fighting for their life, but you are alive. Maybe not in the best of health, but you are alive. You are given another opportunity to make what seemed wrong yesterday right today, my dear friends. Grasp that opportunity and thank God for it. And so, he performs the 5 mansal, thanking God for allowing the Atma, this body, to serve him. He places the body in the chitta, placing the ghee, the sugar, the gugul, the black till, all of these beautiful things, the tulsi branch, etc. Placing the body into the chitta, he performs havan to whom? To Karvagin Devta, that flesh-consuming form of Agni. And then he performs parikrama, and he's about to light the body. Where do we light the body? By the foot? By the mouth. Why do we light the fire by the mouth? Every part of your body, my dear friends, Devis and Devtas reside. Every part of your body, Devis and Devtas reside, That is why this body should be treated as what? A mandir for Bhagavan. That is why we must clothe this body properly. Because Devis and Devtas reside in this body. In your mouth, my dear friends, resides whom? Agni Devta, the fire god. Fire does do what? It does burn your hand. And when it burns you, it does scorch you. And sometimes when people tell you things with this mouth, what does happen? It's kaya for life, and because Agni Devta resides in this mouth. That is why the fire is consecrated by the mouth. He performs tarpan and he continues to make all of the oblations and the respected offerings. And once he does that, my dear friends, everybody recognizes that when one departs from this world, he takes nothing but only his karma. And so, we terminate our katha with final verses of Ramcharitamanas. Jaya Ram Shri Rama, Jaya Jaya Sri Rama, Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Bolo Jai Ram Shri Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Rama, Jaya Rama, Rama, Bhaiya, Lakshman, they now leave in search of Sita Devi. And as Ram is searching for Sita Devi, Lakshman says, Bhaiya, Jatayu tells us that Ravana have Sita. But you know what Ram says? As we terminate Katha, he says, "O Lakshman, you cannot take the word of anybody and believe it just so until you have facts." In today's world, when we hear people say things about other people, what we do? We take it and we run. And we begin to spread what rumors. Sri Ram teaches us this evening, you must have facts first before accusing anybody of doing anything wrong. He says, "O Lakshman, we must have facts before accusing Rama." We must have facts. So as we continue the search, I'm not saying Jatayu is wrong, but let us have facts before accusing anyone. This evening I urge you, if you can't remember all, at least remember one. Take one and try to practice it. My dear friends and devotees, before we terminate and before I hand you over to our Bhaiya for a bhajan, Katha taught us that when we go before Bhagavan, we must always be honest in our thoughts, our words and our deeds in serving God. Because honesty is the best. Oh, you well know that. So I will share with you a kahani because you know that. There once lived a woodcutter. And this woodcutter was very poor. So he went to a nearby river and he was cutting down a tree. And his old rusty axe slipped out his hand and fell inside the water. So he couldn't swim. So when he had a problem, what Katha teacher he must do? Call on who? Jai Bhagwan. So the woodcutter fell in the ground and he started to call God. So Bhagwan appeared from the river. So he said, "Wait, why are you crying?" So the woodcutter said, "Bhagwan, when my axe fall in the river and I can't swim." So Bhagwan went to the river and he bring a golden axe. He said, "Beta, this is yours." He said, "No, Prabhu. If it was you or if it was me, what would I say?" Don't say it out loud. So the woodcutter said, "No." So Bhagwan gone back in the river. And he brought a silver axe. He said, "Bait, that is yours." He said, "No." So Bhagavan gone in the river and he bring an old rusty axe. He said, "Beta, that is yours." He said, "Yes, Prabhu." Bhagavan was amazed to know it still had honest people. He said, "Beta, for your honesty, you take all 3 axes." So the woodcutter was very happy. Thank God, and he gone. How many men married him? Anybody married? Jai Bhagwan, uncle, you know what I'm talking about. So when the woodcutter reached home with his 3 axes, uncle, if you go in the grocery and you come home with something, some extra things, what auntie does ask you? Where, when, how, what, and why? Where you get that? So the woodcutter was asked the same question. So the Dulahin wanted to see this river where Bhagwan disappear. You know the ladies, right? They always want to see every single thing. So while they're crossing the river, the Dulahin fall inside the river. So Bhagwan, this man fall in the ground and start to cry again. So Bhagwan appeared in the river. He said, "Bait, why you crying?" He said, "Bhagwan, when my wife fall in the river now." So Bhagwan gone in the river and he bring Pretty Zinta. He said, "Bait, that is your wife?" He said, "Yes, Prabhu." Bhagwan said, "Bait, I thought he's an honest man." He said, "Prabhu, if I tell you no, then you go in the river and you go bring Kaja. And when I tell you no, that is not my wife, then you go in the river and bring my wife down." He said, "Bhagwan is a poor man, I could only mind one wife." Ek baar bure Srimapati Mahadeva ki. Honesty is the best policy, my dear friends. Always live an honest and a truthful life. and serve God truthfully and honestly. And at the end of this cycle of life, indeed you will attain Bhagwan. Bodhe Satya Sanatan Dharma ki Jai. Bure Sramapati Mahadev ki jai. My dear friends, devotees and bhaktas, this evening as we are about to terminate our Pravachan and Katha, our devotion, our Satsang, before terminating, I invite you all to blend your voices together in chanting the Mahamantra. It is said that by chanting the Mahamantra, the soul attains mukti, liberation. Today we pray for that soul that has journeyed to Dharamraj. And whilst we chant the Mahamantra today, we pray for our own souls. We seek forgiveness from Bhagavan, and we ask Bhagavan to bless us. To bless that soul that has gone to the great beyond, to bless this home, this family, and to bless all joining this evening in Satsang. Together, let us chant the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama Rama, Hare. With love and with devotion. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Manasindreva Pujatmanava Prakatim Subautam Karome Yagya Sakalam Parashme Narayanaiti Samara Mayami. Together. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Jasaka Tvameva Tvameva Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Tvameva Sarvam. In your mind, send a prayer for that soul. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti. It is said, don't think of him as gone away. His journey has just begun. Life holds so many facts as earth is only one. Just think of him as resting from his sorrows and tears in a place of warmth and comfort where there are no days and years. Think how he must be wishing today that we could know how nothing but our sadness could really pass away. Think of him as living in the hearts of those he have touched, for nothing loved is ever lost, and he was loved so much. एक बार बुरे सियापति रामचंद्र की, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय जय सीताराम. My dear friends, devotees and bhaktas, let me take this opportunity to thank, of course, this wonderful family for inviting us to join with you all this evening in devotion. To, of course, all you wonderful devotees joining with us. I made a promise, right? I said I'll make you all sing by the end of the satsang, and it happened, right? Bhagwan blessings to each and every one of you. To all those who have joined with us via Media Concepts 29, we say special thank you to Bhai Kishan Ji, of course, for being here this evening with us, and of course continuing to live stream our satsang and devotion to the home of many devotees throughout the world. To the members of my group joining with me this evening, I say, of course, Bhagwan's choicest blessings to each and every one of you. Jai Sitaram.